Jay Crowder is shooting 2 for 20 on threes through 3 games of this series, and after being out of school for long, my math is pretty rusty, but I'm pretty sure that's 10%. It makes it even worse when you consider the context of his looks, as the Lakers are completely abandoning him on the perimeter. Unfortunately for the Suns, Crowder isn't their only problem, and the Lakers were able to take advantage of various weaknesses in the Suns' rotation in Game 3. One of the more noticeable weaknesses was Chris Paul, who's usually a perimeter threat, but the Lakers are willing to abandon him as well due to his injured shoulder and visibly affected shooting form. It was clear that the Lakers had a killer instinct going into this game, and one way that killer instinct manifested itself was in the Lakers' strategy of shrinking the floor for the Suns. Whether it was Chris Paul, Torrey Craig, or Jay Crowder, the Lakers were willing to leave them at times to prioritize more dangerous players. But they did it in smart ways. The first way I noticed was with Devin Booker's pin downs, as there were multiple times when Schroeder was guarding the passer, and once the pass was made, he would leave his man to cut off the drive from Booker, which would stymie the offense. Sometimes the Lakers would simply double Booker in isolation, but the important thing in these situations was the awareness of the secondary defender, in this case Kyle Kuzma, who is ready to rotate to the open man or to stay on his man if there's no threat. And the Suns did try to punish the Lakers shrinking the floor. As you can see, once the pass is made to Booker, Schroeder tries to help over towards him, leaving Cam Payne. And when Crowder sets a flare screen on Schroeder, it looks like Payne will get an open look, but LeBron snuffs it out for a good contest on the shot. Here's a play where the Lakers just completely abandoned Chris Paul, and even though he's all alone in the corner, the Suns don't even think about passing to him. And this amount of non-threats for the Suns really allowed the Lakers to clog the lane. In addition to a clogged lane, the Lakers also forced a ton of turnovers, as the Suns had 17 in this game, and some of those were unforced, but a lot of it was due to the Lakers just being handsy against the Suns, like on this play at the end of the first quarter. This play in particular was hilarious, as Alex Caruso has great hands to get the block on Booker, and when Chris Paul steals the transition pass, the Suns have a 4-on-2 situation, but they still can't take advantage. KCP in particular was a star defensively in this game, and here he showcases his ability to force turnovers as he picks off the Booker handoff. One of the most important aspects to Devin Booker's game is his ability to get to his spot. And on this play, we see excellent defense from KCP on the Booker handoff as he beats him to his spot. And then once again, we see Schroeder willingly leave CP3 to double Booker. And this one didn't result in a turnover, but this is about as good as it gets for pick and roll defense, as KCP goes under the initial off-ball screen, then tightly navigates over the ball screen, and then expertly stays on Booker's back without fouling, forcing him into a contested mid-range shot. And even though Marc Gasol is past his prime, he is a former Defensive Player of the Year, and in this play, he gets in on the handsiness of the Lakers defense to deflect this driving pass from Cam Payne. In addition to all these turnovers the Lakers forced, there were a lot of unforced turnovers from the Suns as well, mostly due to frustration and bad communication. Early on, we saw Cam Johnson just bobble this transition layup opportunity, Cam Payne pick up his dribble too early and get a traveling call, and we also saw multiple illegal screens set by the Suns. Cam Payne in particular had a few moments of frustration and miscommunication with his teammates as he throws the ball away on this play, and then on this pick and roll with DeAndre Ayton, he fires a bullet pass that Ayton isn't expecting for yet another turnover. The frustration came to a boiling point, and that resulted in LeBron showcasing his killer instinct as he drew multiple silly fouls on the Suns by just playing smart and getting in their heads. After Drummond blocks this driving layup attempt from Booker, LeBron has the presence of mind to slow down in transition, and before he knows it, Booker runs right into him for a foul. I don't know what LeBron is saying to Crowder here, but it clearly works as he draws a foul out of thin air against Crowder. Another important concept of the Lakers' game plan was the late switch. The late switch is a defensive pick and roll strategy where teams will switch, but they only do it once they are forced to. On this play, Wes Matthews goes under the screen for CP3, and once CP3 is deeper into the lane, Andre Drummond switches onto him rather than recovering to Kaminsky. This is a great strategy for the Lakers because Drummond's length bothers CP3's shot attempt, and Kaminsky doesn't have enough of a size mismatch on Matthews to punish them on the boards. Here, Alex Caruso tries to ice this ball screen, so Cam Payne rejects the screen and gets dribble penetration, but due to the late switch, Gasol stays with him rather than recovering to Ayton, and he's able to get the steal on Payne due to his length. The late switch was a great strategy for contesting Devin Booker's mid-range shots, which are usually money, as Gasol's length forces a miss here. After all the miscommunication, frustration, and missed shots, the Suns started playing passive basketball. And here, we see Ayton turn down a perfectly good mismatch in the post, leading to a worse shot opportunity later in the clock. And here, Torrey Craig has a wide open three-pointer, but he hesitates, takes a dribble, and then ends up taking a more contested shot anyway. There's really just no point to that. The Lakers looked absolutely dominant in Game 3, and while the Suns can counter some of their strategies by playing more disciplined basketball and hitting more threes, it's looking like the Lakers are holding the cards in this series. Well, that's it for this one. Thanks for watching, and remember to subscribe for more videos.